Hey guys, today I'm riding with Marshall. You might have seen this video already. It's a Honda Shadow again. So why would I do two videos on the Honda Shadow? Well, maybe I'm doing two videos because the first video had so many people complaining about the wind noise that I thought I'd redo it. No, that's not it. Honestly, you're watching YouTube. You're not in an IMAX theater. You didn't pay 30 bucks plus popcorn and soda to watch my show. Why was the first video so windy? It's because it was windy. Well, couldn't you have found a better day to record it? No. We had wind from roughly the middle of December all the way through the beginning of June. We are next to Cheyenne, Wyoming, and they often say, why does Wyoming blow? Because Colorado sucks. I forget what it is. Anyway, does this mean I'm redoing a video? Not quite. The last Shadow was a 2023. This is a Shadow of the future. This is a 2024 Shadow. Yes, you were looking at the future. Future. And does it look any different? Well, there's some minor differences. The seat is different. If anything, I think the seat is lower. Scooped out, single seat, no passenger seat. In fact, why give you a passenger peg if there's no passenger seat? So what could you use that for? I'm thinking bags. I'm thinking anchor point for a bag. The engine, still a 750. However, there may be a little extra grunt to it at the low end. A little more torque for takeoff. We'll compare those figures. Let's get some sky. We'll compare the torque and horsepower figures here. Right there. That's where we're going to put the torque and horsepower figures. There they are. Okay, look at these milled cylinders. Look how rounded they are. That's kind of cool. That's kind of different. The other difference between the Phantom that I reviewed earlier, besides the fact that this is not all black paint, it's not matte. In fact, it reminds me of a shirt I once had. The pipes, they're not chrome. The chrome is gone. We got barbecue black pipes. Is there a better fitting color for pipes? I'm old school. I kind of like chrome as well, but hey, these pipes are hot. Yeah, no kidding. It's barbecue black, right? Air cleaner, satin finish, barbecue black. Then you got a little bit of visibility here. Why? I don't know. Visibility? Maybe that's why. Maybe it's to offset the shininess of the brakes. The disc brakes. Yes, I said plural. Disc brakes. This is the first year of a Shadow ditching the drum brake and getting a disc brake, which obviously all cars out there have felt was a better move because you don't find drum brakes in too many cars anymore. So with this lowered seat and these pretty low bars, these aren't beach bars, but they are pretty low bars. You don't get the GoPro with it. Look, foam cover for wind blocking of noise. Happy? Anyway, temperature out here is hot. I'm eager to get on the road. In fact, temperature today is somewhere between 80 and FU. And I hope to get some wind on me before we reach the FU stage. And it makes me cranky. And that's why so far you've heard me rant about wind, noise in my videos that I can't do anything about. I'm ranting about the heat because it's gonna get hot. And one last rant. Honda, if you will please, I understand this is not a ride-by-wire system. And neither was my Goldwing, my original Goldwing. Where's the cruise control? Cruise control is really nice when the sweat is dripping down your helmet over your face and you want to wipe it out of your eyes with your right hand. There's no cruise control. There is a button here, a blank off for a button. Makes me wonder what that would be for. Clearly somebody thought to put that in there, so clearly there's an accessory that possibly will go there in the future. Keep an eye open for that. Controls on a Honda Shadow have always been very sparse, and that has not changed. Obviously you have a kill switch, you have the starter button, nothing more. You have over here underneath my camera, sorry, I don't even know if I'm going to use that, I just happened to put it there. Brights, neutral, gas light. Well, what do you need a gas light for? Well, for the lack of a fuel gauge. And this kind of goes back to the Honda Fury too, which has no fuel gauge either. Don't bring the Fury into this, it has nothing to do with the Shadow. I hear you. The Shadow does have pretty good suspension. The Shadow has been out for many, many years, so they have refined it. And if you are a person who doesn't have $20,000 to throw at a motorcycle, but you'd like one that's new and reliable, one that comes from a dealer that doesn't need any work, clearly Honda Shadows are a wise choice. And they'll do everything most cruiser motorcycles will do. Are you going to go up to 100 miles an hour? Well, you might. Are you going to get there eventually with a 750? Yes, you will. If you're not limited. Honda likes to place limits on things. And being a brand new bike, with, once again, I have put the first mile on it. I think it had a mile on it. I put the second mile on it. I don't want to take it on the interstate and do 100 for you. Sorry. Here's some quick differences between the last one. The tires are different. They are now Bridgestone. The fork covers are now 1960s instead of 1950s. The blinkers have a white cover now instead of a garish orange one. The headlight is LED. No, I can't back that up. The headlight is still a halogen. The bars are lower and set more forward, so you have to lean a little more forward for more control over the tires for some reason. The seat, as I said, has no passenger seat now. The rear brake, as I said, is disc. Anyway, yeah, they've made some changes. Nothing sizable. Other than the fact that the rear disc brake now allows ABS on both brakes, not just the front. Alright, let's start this monkey up. How easy does it start? Does it take a lot of hard starting like the Fury, or does it just fire right up? Oh, just fires right up. Purrs like a little kitten. First brake. Front brake, noticeable dive. It's a cruiser. Smooth ride. Don't take it on dirt much. Rear brake. Solid. Very solid. No sliding at all in the rear brake. That's a disc for you. Alright, I need some air. Air. So besides the aforementioned and obvious changes, here are some less obvious changes, as found on Honda News. They shaved off 1.3 inches from the overall length. They shaved off 0.8 of an inch in height. That's probably from the bars. Seat height is nearly a 1/4 inch lower. That's not very much.
but yet I noticed. The gas tank went from 3.7 gallons to 3.9. Hallelujah, somebody is actually adding a little bit more gas to the gas tanks rather than shrinking them down to save weight. The non-ABS model is 6 pounds lighter than the previous generation. The front fork has nearly an inch more travel at 5.5 inches. The rear suspension has 3.6 inches, which is 1/10 up from 3.5. You won't really notice that, but it means they looked at it. The rear brake is 276mm disc with 2 pistons instead of a drum. Both models, previous and now meaning next year, but you can buy it now, both are 745cc with a 52-degree V-twin water-cooled engine with a 5-speed transmission and shaft drive.
The sound from the muffler is a happy little hum. It's very pleasant. I'm sure there's dozens upon dozens of aftermarket mufflers for this bike, but it's just loud enough to know when to switch gears, even with the wind in your face. Oh look, I'm talking about wind again. I'm actually a lot less grumpy now that I'm moving. It is a beautiful day to be riding. Not a beautiful day to be standing still in the sun, but a beautiful day to be riding. That's what a lot of car drivers miss out on, is why we ride. We ride because it's fun. When was the last time you had fun in your car? I've had some fast cars. My times of fun are very fleeting because there's usually traffic. Today, not so much. So the second gear is really long, and I do love long gears. There's not an innuendo in there, sorry. It's just, I really like a second gear that you can blap out. I'm going to say the same thing I did before. Riding a Shadow is very pleasurable. Now the other Shadows had beach bars that came back to you so you could sit straight up. This one I am leaning over the bars a little bit, but I am not putting any weight on my wrists. So I am 5'10", and strangely enough, these bars are kind of cool. I'm leaning over and my feet are forward, so I'm kind of in the windsock position that most cruisers, Harleys for example, are known for. And the bars remind me of kind of a fat bob. By the way, the fenders are bobbed, so maybe that's what they're shooting for here. And as is typical when one does a motorcycle video of any kind, there will be a rolling wall in front of you blocking the mountains. It is what it is, and we're not going to put too many miles on this bike anyway. The gas tank, as wide as it is comfortable to hug. My legs are hugging it, which for new riders is a good thing because it gives you some added stability. Stability on 2 wheels when you just came out of moto class, your first time on the highway, and I never really understood that. How do you take an MSF course in the parking lot, and then you have your license and you stroll away, you get your first bike, and then you're on the real roads? Now they'll tell you that everything you do on an MSF course, if you can't do it at slow speed, you'll never do it at high speed, and they're not wrong. You do need to practice your control of the bike at slow speeds. Most fall overs, tip overs, whatnot happen at a slow speed. Oh, let's follow them all the way to where I'm going. And where am I going? Well, I'm going to Interstate Honda, of course, to return the bike. And that's also where you can buy this bike and variations thereof. Let's give the sound a little listen here. love how low that sounds. Isn't that cool? I love the scent of shipping oil burning off a brand new engine in the morning. Smells like fun. So here we have a 2021 Shadow to point out the differences. So the older Shadows had the orange kind of gumdrop blinkers, the non-bob fender, the really small headlight. You'll notice the other one has a much larger headlight now. Note that the bars are risen. They're not as low as the new one. And the seat on the Shadow for so many years, little tiny passenger pad, big wide poofy non-distinct seat. Other than that, just about everything else is the same. There's the engine. It doesn't have the milled edges that the other one has. They are curved, but it doesn't have the milled edges of the new 2024. The air cleaner is different on the newer one, only just slightly. And gone on the 2024 is all this chrome. Let's go take one last look at it. And I will say, come by it at Interstate Honda, because here you don't have any premium fees. You have the typical dealership fees that one would pay, but you don't have anything tacked onto it. And if you sell a used bike or buy a used bike, you're not dealing with a reconditioning fee on buying the new used bike. Is that confusing? New, used, reconditioning fee? No reconditioning fees at Interstate Honda. Blinker. Slightly bob fender? It's the rear fender that's bobbed. Suspension's different. Very pretty milled engine cylinders, unlike the other Phantom. The seat has more character. And here's the bob fender. Kind of going after the Harley Street Bob, or maybe they're just doing their own thing. Either way, it's a beautiful bike. And I say, if you're looking for a cruiser, you can't go wrong with a Shadow. They've been around a long time. Thanks for watching.